I found a problem. I realized I could solve it. I made a solution. In February this year, I saw the news, and I was frightened to the core. Devastating earthquakes occurred in Turkey and Syria and resulted in over 50,000 deaths. Above 1.5 million people are now homeless, and it's unclear how long it will take to find them proper shelter. I started wondering about what if this happened to my loved ones. What if my family and I were forced to evacuate emergently and were traumatized by the damage? What if we were permanently injured in the disaster? We would still be building back up to this date for all the essentials we would have lost, and recovering from the fear the experience would have ingrained in us. We would reminisce on how different the situation might have turned out if we prepared. I implore you to think from the standpoint of people who suffered due to earthquakes. If you were in their shoes, you were injured. The people you loved suffered. Humans passed away in front of you, and you didn't know how to help. You were so traumatized and put into fear by this disaster, and you could have reduced the damage tenfold had you been prepared and well educated. My frightening thoughts and the situation in Turkey and Syria led me to learn more about this problem. What is the problem exactly? It's not the existence of earthquakes. Earthquakes will always happen. There's no way to prevent them as of now. They're a natural disaster. The problem is that most of us, even in this advanced society, still aren't aptly ready for earthquakes in all contexts, be it safe evacuation routes, quake safety education, easily accessible ways to analyze earthquakes, or predictions. So, I researched more about this problem and uncovered startling facts. In the past 2 decades, over 125 million people were affected by earthquakes, meaning they were injured, thrown into poverty, displaced, or worse. The damage due to earthquakes has been occurring since way back in history. In fact, the deadliest earthquake recorded struck Shenxi province in China in 1556 and killed around 830,000 people. But the 1900s didn't escape. The magnitude 7.8 San Francisco earthquake and ensuing fire in 1906 killed 3,000 and razed large land masses. But there are countless other incidents, recent and long ago. And the direct or indirect damage to all these lives could have been significantly reduced if they had the facets that I mentioned before. We expect about 16 major earthquakes every year, and most of us aren't ready for them. All these facts ignited something in me. I couldn't leave the topic now that I knew exactly how serious it was. I decided to look at the problem on a local tier, my community. I serve in my region and received shocking and concerning results. We may not face quakes often, but when they hit, we must be ready, because they have in the past and have caused lots of suffering to us. 80% of the responders believe they are not prepared for an earthquake. 67% wouldn't be able to help others or themselves much in the aftermath of one. 92% don't have an easy way to view real-time earthquakes near them. 78% don't have access to safe evacuation routes. All these results fueled the fire that was now burning cruelly and vigorously in me. I needed to create a solution. Everyone, think with me. How do we solve this? Reconstructing every building on the planet to give them an aseismic structure is an impractical approach that would take too much time, money, and resources. We're trying our best to mitigate the effects of an earthquake by characterizing the hazard, like identifying earthquake faults, unconsolidated sediment likely to amplify earthquake waves, etc. But this alone is not enough to prevent damage on an individual level. Current early warning notification systems do provide valuable seconds to prepare, but are helpful from a less personal perspective. Think about it. All the present earthquake safety and preparation solutions aren't helping us as much as we'd like. If they were, this problem wouldn't still prevail. Our efforts aren't going down the drain, but we need a novel approach. Preferably, a technology-based solution would work best, as most of us have access to technology, so it would impact the most people. Current technology-oriented resolutions follow a theme. They have just a few features: warning notifications, real-time maps, and sometimes communities. They certainly help, but now it's time to try something new. I brainstormed a lot about this and finally realized something crucial. We should have a forecast. I thought about how we check the current weather status or weather forecast to see whether it's alright to go out. It would be very beneficial to know the chance of an earthquake happening at the moment or see predictions for the future. So I wondered if there was any way I could leverage technology to predict earthquakes. Upon researching, I discovered that regression machine learning algorithms are used for prediction. The second thing I realized was the difficulty during evacuation. If you want to evacuate, you should be able to know a safe route to a safe destination quickly, and that's not effortlessly available immediately. Indulging in conceptualization resulted in my coming up with the idea of utilizing artificial intelligence to determine the quickest, safest, and best route to evacuate. Therefore, I decided to make an online application named Quake It Off with all these features. So, I enrolled in a 2-week MIT internship course to learn machine learning and artificial intelligence, which extended to making my application in 3 months. I incorporated an information hub section to thoroughly but concisely educate users for better preparation. Additionally, I added a map analysis feature that shows current, recent, and historical earthquakes in 2D and 3D. After reviewing the app and gathering more suggestions from friends, family, mentors, and users, I added a share and donate feature along with updating some features to make it possible to share information, contribute to the cause, and come together as a community. My app development may sound easy, but believe me, it was an extremely challenging and strenuous process to ideate, design, and code my app. Learning ML and AI was a massive challenge in itself. Brainstorming the features, figuring out which ML algorithm was the best to use, finding adequate datasets and APIs, those were all just a few of my endless exertions. The sheer effort and dedication I threw into Quake It Off certainly paid off though, because now Quake It Off is published as a web application using Streamlit and runs smoothly on most devices. If you use my app, it won't just benefit you. Quake It Off has tons of potential that any user can harness to help their community. I invite you to use the app to educate your loved ones, school, neighborhood, or other social circle. You can even help people with limited access to quality technology learn about earthquakes and become better prepared by hosting sessions, seminars, or simply spreading information by word of mouth. Every single person who starts preparing for tremors and uses Quake It Off joins a sensational community that helps one another battle the detrimental aftermath of an earthquake and protect each other from extensive harm. Together, we can solve this problem. Together, we can not only make the change, but be the change. Before you leave, I want to tell you something. As you can probably see, I found a grave problem that I was passionate about. Once I realized I could solve it, I made a solution. And what I want you to know is that you can do it too. Anyone can do it. We are all problem solvers in one way or the other, and we need to put that to good use. In this modern world with dangerous mindsets and decreasing creativity, we need to become passionate people with purpose. Every small problem around you might be part of a vaster issue that needs solving. Just by thinking about how you could change the world, you ignite an invaluable spark that could become a change maker's fire. So please, solve the problems that matter to you before they escalate into something unsolvable. Why? Because you can.